Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's me, Rachel. So if you are new to my channel or if you didn't know, my name is Rachel and sometimes here on my channel I cover crime stories or unsolved mysteries, and that is what we're going to be doing today. And in today's video we're going to be talking about a case called The Murder of Annie Dewani. Please hit the thumbs up button and give this video a like, subscribe, and let's get straight into the video. Annie Dewani was born on the 12th of March 1982. She was an engineer and she was of Indian origin, but she was born and raised in Sweden. So before moving to Sweden, Annie's parents were from a country called Uganda, but they were forced to leave Uganda in the early 1970s after the country's president kicked out all Asians who were living there at the time. And because Annie's parents were Indian, they were also forced to leave the country. So that's when they moved to Sweden, and that's where Annie was born and raised. So in 2009, Annie met a young man named Shreen Diwali. Shreen was a successful businessman and millionaire. He was also of Indian origin, but he was born and raised in the UK. So Annie and Shreen both met when Annie was traveling in London. They both met through mutual friends. But not long after meeting and getting to know each other, they soon fell in love. But of course, because Annie and Shreen both lived in different parts of the world, Annie being from Sweden and Shreen being from the UK, they both decided to have a long distance relationship until 2010. This is when Annie finally moved to the UK permanently to be with Shreen, and they got engaged finally in the same year. On the 29th of October 2010, the couple then decided to get married. So the couple decided to get married in India, and they got married in a place called Lake Powai, which is located near Mumbai. So it was said by Shreen and Annie's mutual friends that Annie and Shreen would constantly fight. I guess that's normal in like any relationship, to fight and to argue about things, but it was said that they would do it more frequently. On the 7th of September 2010, the couple went for their honeymoon, where they flew to South Africa. While in South Africa, they first stayed at a place called Kruger National Park for 4 nights. Then they flew back to Cape Town International Airport, and that's where they met a taxi driver named Zola Tonga, and this taxi driver drove them to their 5-star hotel where the couple would be staying. So as they already had met Zola and he was their taxi driver, they decided to keep Zola as their like tour guide while they were staying in South Africa, seeing as Zola is like a local, and they thought it'd be a good idea for Zola to take them around. So as Zola was their tour guide and taxi driver, Zola did drive them around South Africa to different places wherever they wanted to go, including a nearby restaurant. So after the couple had their dinner at the restaurant, they got into the taxi again, and Zola started to drive them back to their hotel and as he was driving them back, Zola had to pass a location called Gugulethu, but as he turned off the main road, that's where 2 armed men unfortunately hijacked the taxi. So Zola was forced to drive a short distance. Then the 2 men kicked Zola out of the car. Not long after Zola was kicked out of the car, then Shreen was unfortunately robbed. He was robbed of his money, his wallet, and his designer watch and his mobile phone. So after robbing Shreen, the 2 hijackers then drove the couple around for around another 20 minutes, and then that's when they eventually kicked Shreen out of the car and left Annie in the car. On the 14th of November at 7:50, Annie's body was found murdered at the back of the same taxi that the couple were traveling in. Annie had a single gunshot to her neck. She was also robbed of her Giorgio Armani watch, her handbag, and her mobile phone. So the post-mortem had identified that Annie had a bruise on her inner thigh, which showed that she did struggle for her life, but they did not find any evidence of any sexual assault or anything like that. On the 16th of November, 2 men were arrested over the murder of Annie. Exoli Mengini, and the other man Mizi Wamadoda Kuwabi. So both these men were both found guilty of murdering Annie because both these men's fingerprints were found in the taxi the same time that Annie was murdered. So Exoli did admit that he was there in the taxi that night, but he had claimed that the other hijacker and Annie were having a little fight over her bag while having a loaded gun, and as he was like trying to pull her bag, it's when the gun went off. So the hijacker who allegedly shot Annie, he did admit to hijacking the taxi, but he had said his motive was purely for robbery. He never intended to murder anybody. But the weird thing is, only 5 hours after giving his statement, he had then changed his statement. So the really bizarre thing is that he had stated that it was like all planned and that Shireen had paid him to hijack the car in intention to murder Annie. In return, he would get a large payout or cash. So Zola said that they would be paid £1,400 by Shireen. So basically the taxi driver and the two hijackers, they all basically admitted to being involved with the hijack. They did plan to kill Annie. So in February 2011, Mizem Wamboda was found guilty and he was sentenced to 25 years of jail. The other hijacker, he was found guilty and he received a life sentence in prison. In October 2014, while Exoli was actually serving his life sentence in jail, he ended up getting a brain tumor and he ended up passing away in jail while serving his life sentence. So as for the taxi driver Zola, he also was found guilty and he got an 18-year sentence in prison as well. So on the day of Shireen's trial, Shireen had actually admitted for the first time in front of anybody that he was actually a homosexual. And this was a shock to everybody because even his in-laws had no idea about this. He did marry their daughter not long ago, and then after that admitting that he never liked women in the first place. So it was really a big shock. So Shireen then went on admitting that he had paid male prostitutes to sleep with him. It was also found that on the day of Annie's murder, before it happened, Shireen was in the hotel lobby, that he was watching homosexual adult movies on his phone. It goes to show that even when he decided to ask Annie to marry him, he was always interested in men. So the big question is, and the question that a lot of people wanted to know, especially Annie's parents, if Shireen was genuinely interested in men and not attracted to women, then why marry Annie? So it is alleged that Shireen was living a double life, because maybe he didn't want anybody to know that he did like men, so maybe that's why he married Annie, to try to hide his real sexuality. So as for Shireen, he had a long 4-year legal battle over the accused murder of his wife. So Shireen ended up being admitted into hospital because how everything was just really messing with his mental health, as you can imagine. So in a TV documentary that was actually made about this case, they actually got the chance to interview the receptionist who was working at the hotel in South Africa at the time when Annie was murdered, and the receptionist's name was Monde Mabolombo. Before the whole incident happened, Monde had claimed that Zola, the taxi driver, had approached him and asked Monde if he knew of any hitmen to get rid of somebody. Monde claimed that he was shocked to hear of such things. I mean, you probably wouldn't expect that, just like minding your own business, working as a receptionist. I mean, yeah, he was shocked. Zola had also told Monde that he would be paid 15,000 rupees for the job to be done. So of course Shireen denied any of these allegations. So CCTV footage showed Shireen and Zola both in the hotel lobby, and then Shireen and Zola both disappearing out of CCTV footage for a few minutes, and then after Zola appearing again in the lobby, but this time he was holding a paper bag. But then again, Shireen came back and said yes, he was giving Zola money in the paper bag, but it was just to pay him his wages for driving them around and being their taxi driver. So in a 2013 BBC documentary, which was actually based on never before seen footage, and it was very interesting because this documentary actually casted a lot of doubt on the South African investigation, and Shireen travelled back to Sweden to meet up with his in-laws after the whole incident happened. Annie's cousin actually was secretly recording Shireen, and while Annie's cousin was filming him, he had actually lied to his in-laws. So when Shireen was telling his in-laws about what happened, he had told his in-laws that Zola had left straight away after he first initially dropped them at their 5-star hotel. But when Shireen was in court, it was found that CCTV footage and also mobile records show that in fact that Zola had stuck around and had a conversation with Shireen around 10 minutes before leaving. Another crucial evidence that was left out, which was later brought to the court, was the day before Annie's murder. It was proven that Shireen had actually taken out a large sum of money and also had a 5-minute phone conversation with Zola that same night. Shireen never got charged till this day because again there was no hard solid evidence to prove that Shireen had anything to do with it. After 4 years of being cleared of his wife's murder, Shireen is actually in a relationship with his Brazilian boyfriend, who is actually a Brazilian photographer. So Annie's parents say that they just wish that Shireen was open and honest with them from the start about his sexuality, because they say that if he was just honest with them, he would have never married Annie and they would have never went to South Africa, and that Annie would still be here today. So please leave a comment down below and let me know what you guys think of this case, and let me know what cases you'd like me to cover, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!